Hi, this is Linda, and I'm a boomer. And today's episode, you are going to be tested on your SoCal skills, and you are going to get a glimpse into the OC in the 1960s. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back. You've reached Boomer Therapy, and the purpose for this channel is to basically discover how to enjoy life after retirement and learn something and challenge yourself. And that is therapy kind of rolled up. When you retire, that's not the end. And if you don't learn something or laugh or progress, at least make your life at least 1% better every day, then you will suffer the consequences of just feeling old and useless, and that is not going to be a choice. So the reason for me doing this channel is to challenge myself, because I'm telling you, I had no clue of how to put a YouTube video on, let alone all of the technology that goes with it and the camera work and everything else. So I learned something every single day. I'm using this platform because it is hard, and especially because I don't know how to do it. It makes me think, it makes me research, and it makes me face the facts that I'm scared stiff of being in front of a camera. So with that, I'm hoping maybe I can reach out to other boomers to start a YouTube channel. Join me, have fun, tell your story, teach the world. Today's episode is going to challenge you a little bit on SoCal, Southern California. So we're going to start off with a boomer brain buster and test your knowledge on SoCal. So are you totally ready for Boomer Brain Buster California style? Let's see how much you know about California. Here we go. First question. If you order in and out fries animal style, what will they come topped with? A, cheese, grilled onions and spread. B, cherry peppers, hot sauce and pickled onions. C, bacon, cheese and barbecue sauce. I will give you 3 seconds. Did you pick cheese, grilled onions and spread? Well, you're absolutely correct. And this is what they look like. I don't know how many of you have had animal style, but it does look pretty good.
You have to try this In-N-Out burger.
This is just a normal burger.
It's In-N-Out. It's different.
All right, I'm sorry.
So, are you totally ready for number 2? Northern California may have Tahoe, but SoCal has Big Bear, Palm Springs, and A, Napa Valley, B, Sequoia National Park, or C, Shasta Lake. I'll give you 3 seconds. Did you pick Sequoia National Park? You would be absolutely right. So far, how you doing, y'all? Are you ready? Number 3, if you are grabbing dessert at Pinkberry, what are you eating? Are you eating A, a gelato, B, custard, or C, a frozen yogurt? 3 seconds. Did you say frozen yogurt?
Right on. Exactly what it is. I actually never heard of this before. I guess we even have them here in Arizona. So number 4, are you going to a Dodgers game? Then you must get a Dodgers A, dog, B, burger, C, brew. 3 seconds. Did you say Dodgers dog? You are correct. Big old hot dog on a bun. What could taste better than eating a hot dog at a Dodgers game? Unless you're at a Diamondbacks game. You guys are ready for number 5? Here we go. Everyone thinks SoCal is all about water sports, but come a little inland, what else is super popular? Is it A, racquetball and ultimate frisbee, B, snowboarding, skiing and skating, C, golf and badminton? You had 3 seconds. Do you guess snowboarding, skiing, and skating? Well, you're absolutely right. And I'm sure skateboarding's in there also. So are y'all totally hanging in there? Ready for number 6? Here we go. If your friend describes a party as lit, it is A, boring, B, normal, C, amazing. You had 3 seconds. Did you guess amazing? You are absolutely correct. Nothing like having a lit party. So, are you guys ready for the next one? And it will be our final one. Number 7. SoCal residents have a lot of grocery stores to choose from. But which of these does not belong? Is it A, a Smart and Final, B, a Piggly Wiggly, C, Trader Joe's, D, Vons, or E, Ralph's? 3 seconds. Did you guess Piggly Wiggly? You are totally right on. Actually, Piggly Wigglies you find them more in the South. Alabama having the most locations. Kroger, which we know for fries here in Arizona, actually recently bought the Piggly Wigglies of Memphis. They also bought Ralph's, so Ralph's is also a Kroger's. Vons belonged to Safeway, which now belongs to Albertsons. So it's kind of hard to keep up with everything. But how did you do? Are you a total Californian? Are you as Californian as Spicoli?
All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Shaw Spicoli, like totally. Oh, so how did you do? Are you SoCalicious? Bet you are. Oh, by the way, Gracie had her hair done recently. Got the pink bow. She's gorgeous. She's happy. No, trust me, she does not like getting her hair done, but you know, to be gorgeous for movies, you gotta look good. Anyway, are you ready for my brief SoCal beginnings? Well, get comfortable, get something to drink, and here we go. Here we go. Okay, get yourself nice and cozy. You are going to hear a story today. Today's story is my life story according to me, Linda. Part 1. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the 1960s, in the fiefdom of Orange, in the kingdom of Orange County, in the great country of California, my mother and her mother, my grandmother, headed west from Texas to California. They settled in Orange,
because that was closer to my grandmother's sister, and my grandmother felt it was closer to her son, my mother's older brother, who had just been attacked Pearl Harbor. He was stationed at the Nevada. They lived in a little apartment that faced the center of town, which the center of town had a really beautiful plaza and fountain. They lived up here where the State Farm Insurance Company offices are. My mother used to sit in the window and read her book by the light of the outside lamps. My mother could see the plaza from her window. Her and her cousins would roller skate all around the plaza, up and down the streets, having a great time. That was their mode of transportation at the time. This is a bird's eye view of the Orange Plaza. It actually intersects with two main streets. One is Glassell and one is Chapman. We're going to talk about Glassell with my mother, and then we're going to talk about Chapman when I came around in the 60s. So, a little background on Orange. It is only 25.7 square miles, so it's not real big. It was incorporated in 1888. It earned the name Plaza City because it was built around a plaza, this plaza that you see. But due to the freeway system connecting LA with all the outlying areas like Orange, large housing developments came in and it just took off. In fact, Orange grew from 1950s to the 1970s by 700%. When I lived there in the 60s, there was only 28,000 people. Today, there's 137,109 people. The last 4 years, though, have been kind of tough. Their annual growth rate has actually declined, and it's probably due to the price of homes, and I'll talk about that in a minute. If my mother were to go down Glassell, she could skate right up to Watson's Drugs, and in Watson's Drugs they had a soda fountain, and she and her cousins would get candy and sodas. Today, Watson's looks like this. It's still around. It is mostly a restaurant now. It just remodeled a few years ago, and it is no longer that a little store where you can go in and still see the soda fountains and buy candy. Now it's just all a sports bar restaurant. But the food is really good, and we love to eat outside because Grace can go with us. On Glassell, across the street from Watson's, there was Orange Theater. My grandmother worked there as the person who you bought tickets from to go in. So my mom and her cousins got to see all the great films of the 40s. Today, you'll see on the right, it is a church. You can see the marquee is still there. The building looks a lot the same, but it is now a church. If my mother were to cross back over Glassell and went up the block a little bit, she would come to a gas station. Today, that gas station is called the filling station, and it's a restaurant. The restaurant is awesome. The food is awesome. And you could bring your dogs with you, so Gracie gets to go. If you were to continue going up Glassell, my mother lived in the neighborhoods there. My grandmother's house today, I looked it up on Zillow. It's 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,074 square feet. It is worth $802,870, almost $900,000 for a home that's a little over 1,000 square feet. That is probably why the population is going down in Orange. Okay, so let's fast forward from the 1940s to the 1960s. And if you were to travel down Chapman, which remember Chapman and Glassell intersect at the plaza, you travel west on Chapman, you travel about 2.5 miles, you come to where I lived in the 60s. So I'm going to tell you a story on how my sisters and I traveled walking to school. We didn't have a school bus. We had to walk about a mile, but we passed some of the coolest things on our way. So from our house, we would walk down Chapman. We would make a left on Lewis. And right on the corner of Lewis and Chapman, there was this huge walnut grove. And right next to the walnut grove was a drive-in church. And it was really cool. In fact, it was one of its kind at the time. People would literally drive their cars there. They would put a speaker, like a drive-in movie, on their window, and they would listen to Schuler's preaching that Sunday. And as you could see, Schuler standing there on the balcony, he can walk from the outside to the inside so he can continually talk to both the people that are on the outside and the people that are on the inside. Today, Schuler's drive-in church is called the Crystal Cathedral. So right on the corner of Lewis and Chapman is this huge, huge church. So as we pass the Crystal Cathedral, which is right here, we would travel on down the road past some neighborhoods. But right here, where I think it's professional buildings there now, but there used to be horses, so we had to stop and see the horses. And if we had apples, we fed our apples to the horses. It was really fun. And then we made a left on Lamson, and we ended up at school, which is Lamson Elementary. When we got to school, I had to show you a picture that I have found. This is my 4th grade class. You could see that it was pretty crowded, even in the 60s. And this is me right there. We had the coolest desks because you could put everything inside. This is my mother getting ready to go off to a PTA meeting in her Buick. She was actually the president of the PTA because one year she didn't show up for a PTA meeting and they voted her in as president. But she didn't mind. She did a good job. We also shopped at a store called Market Basket. Market Basket was actually bought out by Kroger in 1963. Kroger sold a lot of the stores back to Ralph's, Vaughn's, and a couple other places. Ralph's ended up being bought up in 1998 by Kroger. So Market Basket was like our Arizona fries. But I have to show you just something that was interesting. If you were to go shopping in Market Basket, you could buy cornflakes for 23 cents, Campbell's soup, tomato soup, which was my favorite at the time, 10 cents, gallon of milk, 99 cents, dozen eggs, 53. And if you totaled this list up, it would be $4.28. Today, if you added inflation, it's $36.79 for this amount of food. I also want to share with you one of my favorite places to eat. They had the best French fries. The name of it was called Carl's Whistle Stop. And Carl's Whistle Stop was all themed like railroads, like trains and things like that. And in fact, it had a little model train that used to run all the way around it on the inside. The picture on the right is kind of a picture of the bright, colorful, I guess you could say unique, very 60s type decor. Today, Carl's Whistle Stop has changed their name. In 1974, they became Somebody You Know, Carl's Jr. Well, that's the end of this part of the 1960s. Thank you so much for being patient as I hark back to times of yore in the 60s. I'm hoping that some of you can remember a couple things like maybe hairstyles or clothing, cars, or if you've ever been to Orange. Hopefully you've gone to Watson's drugstore or the filling station and enjoyed yourself.
I'd get up at 6 a.m., take the 118 east to the 405 north, get on the 5, and then take that to the 210 all the way out to Rancho Cucamonga.
Hey, you're back. So now, this is your part. Don't forget to subscribe. Now, for those of you who have never done this before, if you subscribe, you're not going to get a bill. It's not like ordering a magazine or subscribing to a magazine or a book club or a record club. Oh, I don't think they do record clubs anymore. But it's free. And then when you ring the bell next to it, then that lets you know when another Boomer Therapy episode is up. Also, don't forget to look at the description below. You will find my email. So send me an email. I'd like to hear from you. Tell me your ideas. Ask me a question. How did I start with YouTube? How did that work? Anything, that's fine. But I want you to be kind, because being kind is good. So always remember, learn one thing every day and hug a teacher. So say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Peace out.